Hello everybody and welcome to Play Great Games. I've played a considerable amount of the new champion, Vatu. He is by far my favorite character in the game, and as someone who is pretty close to getting everybody's dream, the golden skin, I'm going to be giving you some tips on how to dominate with Vatu. For a little bit of reference, Vatu is similar to Doomfist from Overwatch. He's movement based, who can get in, get a kill, and get out. So this guy is right up my alley. When he was finally dropped, I played a bit of him, but I didn't like his primary fire, so I dropped him for a while until I found his secret. He's in love with Saris. It's crazy, I know. Wait, not that secret. I know how to use his abilities to dominate. Not the other one. So a simple ability breakdown. His primary fire is kunai. Throw 3 kunai at an arc, each dealing 300 damage. Next is his secondary fire, Shadow Bombs. Fire 3 bombs that stick to enemies and surfaces, each dealing 210 damage on landing and exploding. Next is his ambush ability. This is very important. Teleport to an enemy dealing 200 damage on arrival, can be used again within 4 seconds. Next is his dash. Teleport a short distance in a direction that you are moving. Last but not least is his ultimate, Nightfall. Activate to start charging up, activate again to dash through enemies, dealing 800 damage and stunning them for 1.25 seconds. The longer you charge, the farther you go, has a maximum distance of 130 units, but charging it for longer doesn't do more damage, still 800. So now you know his abilities. Now before I start talking about playstyle, I just want to point out that just like every champion in Paladins, you can have your own playstyle through loadout decks and items and etc. This is just mine. So, I like to take the usual flank routes, but it's the abilities that really help me here. So my loadout deck makes it so my ambush, where I teleport to enemies, is able to be activated much farther from the target. So let's say I take this flank route, I see an enemy, I use my ambush to get all nice and close, and dealing 200 damage. Then I shoot once, use my shadow bombs, shoot again, and that right there should kill every flank, damage, and healer in the game, unless they have like a whole bunch of cards in their decks that give them a whole bunch of health, or something like that, but it should finish them off pretty quickly. My loadout deck also makes it so that when I finish this combo, I will have full ammo again without reloading. So, when I finish the kill, the other enemies, damage and healer in the back, should see me. That's when I use my dash to get out of there. Now, I use the talent Enveloping Shadows, so when I finish this kill, all my cooldowns should be done. But sometimes they have a damage who can take me out quickly, or my cooldowns won't fully be charged, so I'm still gonna get out of there. Now the enemy has to try and take the point without a healer. Good luck. I usually circle back around and pick at the tank. That's just what I do. It's more effective just to keep killing the damage and healer in the back. But I use the time that my ambush is on cooldown to take out the tank. So the enemy loses their healer, then their tank. It's going to be a rough time trying to take that point. Once the tank is dead, my ambush should be ready, and I'll head back into the back line and take out a couple more healers with damage. So that's basically my playstyle. Though I try to mix it up, take different flank routes, maybe take out a damage instead, just try not to be predictable. Now, all of this depends on our team comp. I don't usually stay in the back and take out all the damage and healers if we only have one healer, like Furia or someone who can't solo heal. And I'm not saying that Furia is a bad healer, I'm saying just be careful of going full flank mode if your only healer is someone who has a cooldown on an ability that only heals one person. So, I have other loadout decks that I use instead that match my changed playstyle. I just like to play Vatu like a damage or a weak flank if we don't have a solo healer or a double healer. Another important tip is, not only to Vatu, but all champions, is looking at the enemy's loadout talents and items. It's simple, but it's so important. I've died so many times in my early levels of flanking because I didn't know the enemy damage had a lot of stuns. So now I use the loading screen as a time to devise a plan. I use the 1 minute I have in spawn to look at the enemy's abilities, loadouts, talents, and items. It helps me know who I'm going to be hunting for the whole match. This was well spoken in one of the comments of my videos. saying, even if there are two Imanis on both sides, my Imani is very different from the other one. So you might play a lot against Bomb King, but they're all different. Even the pros check the talents, loadouts, and items. Maps are another problem for Vatu that you really need to watch out for. Big open maps or even narrow maps like Timber Mill are really hard for flanks, especially Vatu, as the enemy team can see you a mile away before you get within killing range. And that again is why I have the increased ambush range in my loadout deck, so even if the maps are big and open, I can still get up close. As for items, I like to buy Cauterize, Life Rip, or Steel, I can't remember. Now I know that in the higher ranks you might not need Life Rip because the heals are better, but when I'm way in the back, it helps me get that small amount of heals that I need, and Life Rip does just that. Later in the game, depending on the heals and comp, my final items are Life Rip, Cauterize, Kill to Heal, and Morale Boost. Even though Vatu's ultimate is not super valuable, it's needed in some circumstances. It's also great for securing a kill. If you're low on health and you need to take a guy out, pop the ult, stun him, get the kill. I'd also like to point out that the best way to use this ultimate is by doing it really quickly. While you're charging, you can still take damage, so using it close up and doing it quickly is the best way. But if you've got a map like Jaguar Falls, where there's a big line down the middle of the map, you can dash up in the air, use it, fall down. Once you hit the ground, it should be full charged, making you go the full 130 units, knocking out everybody right there. Just be careful, as soon as you activate your ultimate, you lose all momentum. So, try to go straight up instead of at an angle, or if you're going to go up at an angle, just be aware of your surroundings and where you are. Otherwise, you'll ult right behind a wall and you'll lose the ultimate. Nightfall cannot be cancelled, so use it in the knowledge that it cannot be cancelled or saved once activated. So I hope this helped. Remember, this is just my playstyle and loadout decks. I understand that you might not be comfortable with it, and if you have any tips for me, I will be glad to hear them, as someone who's trying to grind Vatu for the golden skin. I hope you have a special day, and remember, life is short. Play great games.